everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Makowski's Minute. I ditched the robe, I lost the coffee for a beer, I invited my good buddy, bass player of the Howell Chan, to come on. We're talking about Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath. Agabo. So, let's just jump right into it. Released February 13th, Friday the 13th, 1970. I believe it hit number 8 in the UK album charts, and I think number 23 in the US Billboard charts. The first single off of it was actually a cover of American rock band Crow. The song's called Evil Woman, and the record company insisted that they record it so they had something kind of marketable to sell. So, hey, what do you think of this album, Chan?
I think it's a goodie. The boys recorded this in 12 hours. Was it a one or 2 day ordeal?
They recorded, you're right, 12 hours, but their whole thing was they had 2 days to make the album pretty much. 1 day recording and 1 day mixing. So, 12-hour day.
12-hour day, and they overdubbed, what, two things is all. It was all just, they jammed. And that's how Sabbath always wrote.
The quote from Ozzy is, "They still made it in time for last call at the pub."
Oh, Oz boy. But yeah, I think that's the beauty of Sabbath, is that from everything that you've heard about them, is that these guys would just jam in a room together, and that's where they get most of their ideas. I don't know if they had what the heck he recorded on back in the day, maybe a cassette player. Did those exist yet? No, I don't think so. But...
And you know, that whole Sabbath sound, though, they say coming from Tony Iommi cutting off his fingertips when he was like 17 or 18 working in the factory. Yeah. What you know what fingers it was, Chan?
Well, I know it was, so it would be his right hand since he's a lefty.
He's a lefty.
I think that it was, I mean, they were all the main fingers, so maybe it was the three. I don't know if it was, I don't think the thumb.
He's working in the factory, and he's cutting metal, and 17 or 18, Tony Iommi, and he's kind of daydreaming about going on tours, or so the story goes, and cut his fingers off.
And the crazy thing about that is he was done working at this factory, and so Sabbath, he was quitting the job, so he's done there. And his buddy goes, "Man, I need one favor from you." He goes, "Can you do one last day for me here at the shop?" He goes, "All right, I'll treat you." And he goes in. He cuts the boys off. The last day. So that's where the detuning came from. They had to detune their instruments, and he melted down plastic.
Yeah, made his own prosthetics so that he could play guitar and tune down so it wasn't as painful for him to play.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And how metal is that?
That's metal.
It's pretty heavy metal. And yeah, I know that. I know that's why people say often, "Oh, I know. They detune their guitars because it helps the singer be able to hit those high notes." For Sabbath, it was it just was painful to play on those 10 strings.
And he still tuned up every once in a while, but it was like Chance said, it was painful for him to play, so he downtuned.
Yeah.
And man, that whole Sabbath sound, 1970, like we were talking earlier, contrary to the whole flower power, and such why this album got such bad reviews is because it was the birth of heavy metal, and flower power was still happening, and there was a whole thing where Sabbath didn't really get flower power because they were growing up in industrial Birmingham and kind of in the ghetto, and flower power really didn't understand them. Because they were what was the beginning of heavy metal.
Yeah, I like that idea too. That it wasn't born out of let's brainstorm, let's see. It was natural. They just were drawn to the dark, and that idea that the first song is about the devil. He's singing, "What is this that stands before me?"
Geezer Butler's dream after Ozzy apparently brought him a book about black magic or Aleister Crowley or something, and Geezer having this dream and waking up in this dark figure at the end of his bed, and he wrote the lyrics for all that. Geezer Butler, the bassist, being their main lyricist,
Yep.
And just wild stuff.
And the idea that Ozzy would just come in after Geezer's written all these lyrics, and Ozzy sees him, and he goes, "Finish with my woman," and he's got a great line 2 rips in, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So he would write the melody, Ozzy, generally speaking. I'm sure there were, they'd go up and down, but he usually wrote the melody, yeah, and Geezer was the lyricist. It was a cool dynamic.
I mean, like you were saying, each member of that band was a key component to that band. They were like, I mean, what were you say about that?
I just have always thought that Sabbath really was the epitome of a great band, like a true band where every member plays such an important role, where, I mean, and I love how loud everyone's in the mix. Everybody in the mix is prominent, not dominant, but prominent. And so everybody, they're so cohesive, they're glued together, and you can't have one without the other. That's why I think after Ozzy left, it never was the same again.
Never was the same again.
No, she wasn't.
Well, thanks, guys. We got a few more Sabbath for you, so join me next week when Chan's going to come on back and hang out, and we're going to be going over Paranoid.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.